And tonight, that's what the blue and white has done. From Allen Paulson Stadium, Georgia Southern 34, Appalachian State 14. Today, Eagle Nation can celebrate. They have regained control. It is well with my soul at Turner Field. Georgia Southern has officially clinched the biggest turnaround in school history. It's a 9-3 regular season, a 35-14 win over Georgia State. Langan to snap it, Bowerly to hold it. This to win the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. 3 ticks left, snap and hold. Bass swings on the way. It's gone! It is well with my soul in Montgomery. Georgia Southern wins the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. 23-21.
We like good kids. We like good students. But we love to win. And this team, to go from 2-10 to freaking 10-3. God is good all the time. I love these dudes. I love Georgia Southern. Eastern Michigan's a great team. What a great game. But man, these guys deserve this. After the last 2 years that they had, these guys deserved it. I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy.
2018 was truly a memorable season for the Georgia Southern Eagles, but it's time to put that in the past because it is the present. And it's time to kick off the 2019 season. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 2019 Georgia Southern Preview. I'm Frank Sulkowski.
And I'm Amy Zimmer. Over the next 30 minutes, we're taking you behind the scenes with the Georgia Southern football team as they prepare for the 2019 season.
We'll hear from the players and the coaches, but that's not all. We will also take you out to some of the one-of-a-kind events in Statesboro and even take the field with Southern pride. But first things first.
That's right. The Eagles are just a couple days away from soaring down the Baton Rouge to battle the 6th-ranked LSU Tigers in the 2019 season opener.
The Georgia Southern Eagles have been in this situation plenty of times on the road against an SEC power, 4-touchdown underdog. Tell you what, the Eagles, they're not scared. It's another opportunity to show the college football world Georgia Southern's blue-collar brand of football. Saturday night, head coach Chad Lunsford will lead his squad onto the field in one of the toughest stadiums to play in. Talking about Death Valley down in Baton Rouge. There, the Eagles will begin their quest to go from good to great against LSU. Listen, the Eagles know what they're up against, and they're looking forward to that challenge and the opportunity.
It's Georgia Southern versus the world is what we say, and nobody expects us to do great, but we know the players we have, we know the brotherhood that we have, and we understand that we can go into anywhere and compete, win, and get these guys on their heels and make people realize that Georgia Southern's for real.
They put their pants on just how we put ours on. We're going to go out there and we're going to do what we do. They had an all season just how we had all season, and just come down to executing the game plan.
It is a football game. They are very talented, very fast, very quick, very strong. To the outside world, it's definitely a mismatch. But our guys, they work hard, and they want to show that they belong. They want to show that that they can go play against LSU.
Now, this will be the 14th time Georgia Southern has faced a team from the SEC. The first ever meeting with LSU, of course, the Eagles. Just one win against an SEC school, that being that big 26-20 win over Florida back in 2013 down in Gainesville. As for the 6th-ranked LSU Tigers, well, there's no way they're taking the Eagles lightly this weekend.
Yeah, we're excited to get started. The book is yet to be written. This is just going to be chapter 1. And, we're looking to get off on a good start. Georgia Southern's a really good team, won a lot of games last year. They're physical up front, stop the run. So it's going to be a challenging week for us. We're going to have to show everything. Georgia Southern's too good. We can't hold anything back against them.
Obviously, you want to contain him. He's not really a pass-first type of guy. I mean, he don't get me wrong, he got a little arm on him, but every chance he get, if he can scramble, he's going to scramble. He got some speed on him. He got a nice nice little quickness and shifty athletic ability. And that's one of the things we got to focus on this week as far as managing a dual threat quarterback. You got to watch him on the run, and you got to watch him with his arm as well. So like I said, just doing my responsibility the whole time on the option, just holding the quarterback, playing quarterback to pitch or pitch your quarterback, however the system goes that we run against him, and just doing my job the whole time.
All right, we're just getting started here on our Georgia Southern preview special. Coming up after the break, we're talking X's and O's and the key players hitting the field this season over in Statesboro.
I'll also take you along for the Georgia Southern Women's Football Clinic held earlier this month at Paulson Stadium. All that and much more still to come. Stick around.
And welcome back to our 2019 Georgia Southern preview here on WJCL. The Eagles enter the new campaign looking to go from good to great. Last season, Georgia Southern winning 10 games, including that dramatic victory at the Camellia Bowl.
Chad Lunsford and company with high expectations this season. Georgia Southern once again looking to continue proving folks wrong. Case in point, the preseason Sunbelt poll.
That's right, the league coaches, the 10 head coaches, tabbing the Eagles to finish third in the Sun Belt's Eastern Division. Appalachian State picked to win the East and the league title in 2019. Behind the Mountaineers, Troy, followed by Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina, and Georgia State. Meanwhile, in the West, the Louisiana Raging Cajuns picked to win their division. Arkansas State checking in at number 2, followed by Monroe 3, South Alabama 4th, and Texas State 5th. For the second consecutive season, the Sun Belt will continue with a divisional format to determine a champion. The championship game will be played at the site of the divisional team with the best overall conference winning percentage. That contest coming up December 7th. 2019. Now, Georgia Southern has 4 players that were named preseason All-Sun Belt Conference. Quarterback Kendall Vildor voted the preseason Defensive Player of the Year. He was a first-team selection along with defensive end Raymond Johnson III, fellow cornerback Monquavian Brinson, and kicker Tyler Bass.
Just with Lunsford always telling us, man, just going good to great in everything we do. So we're just going to go out there, execute everything we do, play harder, run harder to the ball, and just be perfect. We want that target on our back, so we want to go out there and prove everybody wrong each and every single day and just go out there and play the best of our abilities. Oh, yeah, I feel like defense, we got a lot of experience, man, especially having Coach Sloan for a second year. So we know the defense in and out. That's why we're practicing on it each and every single day. And we got stars all over the defense, D-line, linebackers, secondary. We got an amazing unit, and we're ready to get this thing started.
Now, Kendall Vildor touched on a big reason why the Georgia Southern defense expected to be one of the best in the Sun Belt here in 2019. It's year number 2 under defensive coordinator Scott Sloan's 3-4 defense.
Last season, the Eagles finished 2nd in the Sun Belt in scoring, 3rd in rushing defense, and 5th in passing defense. In all, 7 starters returned on the defensive side of the ball.
Now, one of those other returning starters is Raymond Johnson III. From his defensive end position, he tallied 43 tackles and 4.5 sacks last season. Johnson seemed to always find a way into the other team's backfield, finishing the 2018 campaign with nearly 10 tackles for loss.
Greedy, man. We want more. We always want more. We want the ball. Obviously, we was number 1 last year in turnovers, and we want a lot more of those this year. So we're very greedy, very hungry.
Now we're going to talk about that Georgia Southern offense and the special teams in just a couple minutes. Right now, though, want to talk about a busy month of August over in Statesboro for Eagle fans.
Yeah, plenty of events being held in Statesboro to give Eagle Nation an up-and-close personal look at the Georgia Southern football program, including one night where it was all about the ladies.
The only thing better than a Georgia Southern man is a Georgia Southern woman.
It was ladies' night at Georgia Southern for the 5th annual Women's Football Clinic.
You know, you don't always know what our guys go through and what our guys have to do daily to be great football players and be great student athletes. And so this is an opportunity to show them a little bit about what our guys have to do.
Somewhere in the sea of ladies was I, ready to soar like an eagle for the day. Coach Lunsford firing up the crowd, or at least trying to.
We're supposed to be going from good to great, not worse to bad.
The clinic kicking off with a fashion show showcasing what the players wear throughout the day. Then it was time for the ladies to see who could dress the fastest.
3 seconds.
Next, we hit the weight room to see where the hard work pays off for the players.
These guys do a great job of training all year, and it's stuff that they don't see. So giving them kind of insight into our program, into nutrition, just kind of what our guys do on a daily basis.
The athletic training room was next, where players put in extra time to stay on the field.
I think this is probably one of the most important things that they do. Whether they're injured, whether they're just doing preventative stuff between the weight room and here, we know they have to go to meetings, we know they have to be on the practice field, but what keeps them on those fields and what keeps them in the meetings and what keeps them active is how strong they are and how healthy they are.
Then we soared to the team film room and dove into the playbook. It was almost time to hit the field, but first, one last important stop.
We like good kids! We like great women! But we want to win! Get to the tunnel, let's go!
Through the tunnel we go. I was ready to get to work.
No walking on the field, ladies.
Some drills had me believing I still had the athleticism of a Division I athlete inside me. Other drills, not so much.
No!
From getting to know the coaching staff, the traditions, and what it takes to be a Georgia Southern football player, overall, it was a great day soaring with the Eagles.
Oh, while Amy was getting a taste of life of a Georgia Southern Eagle with the ladies, the men, well, they had their chance to soar like the Eagles as well.
The second annual GATA Lifestyle Experience also held earlier this month.
Now, that's a fantasy camp of sorts. Those who attend getting a once-in-a-lifetime behind-the-scenes look at the Georgia Southern Eagles as they kicked off preseason camp. It was an all-access thing. You had team meetings, staff meetings, practices, team meals, everything. Now, the cool thing, proceeds from the experience helping various projects around the Georgia Southern football program.
Get a chance to hang out with Coach Lunsford, the rest of the coaches, just an incredible staff we have. When you look at the players and what they have to go through from a 6 o'clock morning meeting all the way to 10 o'clock at night, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of effort. The amount of teaching and learning the coaches do, the teaching that the coaches have to do to prepare these boys to play that game, to make this read or to make this slight adjustment, makes a difference whether they make a play or not make a play. And then the effort the players have to put into, in addition to their schoolwork they're learning every single day, but the amount of effort they got to learn the playbook, make this adjustment, as I just mentioned before, to make that adjustment. Whether you're going strong or whether you're going weak side, whether you're going boundary, whether you're going to the field, makes a difference of making a play, whether that's a touchdown or a loss of play. Coach Lunsford talks about the Georgia Southern man, and being a part of the Georgia Southern man is about being family, is about doing what's right, taking that little extra effort to make a play, taking that little extra effort to thank a donor like us to be here today and make a difference in the program. I mean, and at Georgia Southern, every little bit helps. We're not big programs, so every dollar that we can raise in this program raises money directly for the football program to carry on to help us move into the next level. I mean, we're FBS football. We got one of the toughest schedules we've ever had at Georgia Southern this year, and so it's going to take every single fan yelling, screaming, hollering, and making sure that help these boys and learn the support that we've got to have to help them go from good to great.
Well, still to come on our Georgia Southern preview, we'll take a look at that Georgia Southern offense and special teams.
We'll also hit the practice field with Southern pride. All that and much more still to come.
But as we go to break, the official podcast for Georgia Southern Athletics is now available for Eagle fans everywhere. Inside Eagle Nation is a weekly podcast hosted by the voice of Georgia Southern Athletics, Mr. Danny Reed. Reed and Colin Lacey of the Georgia Southern Sports Network, releasing a new episode every Tuesday. The podcast can be found on gseagles.com, and you can also subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart Media Player, and a couple other platforms.
We don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing X's and O's talk and stats heavy because everybody else does that. We had to find a way to be different and had to find a way to give people content that they really could enjoy. this is a place, whether it's football or anything else, the history isn't that deep, but the stories are. And this time of year, the stories just seem to come up, and that's for any sport. Yeah, football, they're going to be a little bit more prominent, but we found stories across all sports, and the basis for this, we want to try to tell as many stories as possible.
The Georgia Southern football team voting junior quarterback Shai Werts as one of the Eagles' 4 captains for the 2019 season. The squad rallied around that starting signal caller after Werts lived through a nightmare off the field earlier this month. Of course, Werts was pulled over for speeding prior to the start of camp. Saluda County, South Carolina deputies would also charge him with misdemeanor possession of cocaine after officers found a substance on the hood of Werts' car. The charges later dropped after those tests proved that the substance was not a controlled substance at all, just as Werts had been pleading during the July 31st arrest.
I knew that the truth would eventually come out, I just didn't know how long it would take. I'm glad it came out kind of fast so it can all be over with. And, but it's definitely been hard to deal with. It was more frustration than anything because I know I didn't do anything wrong. But I'm just glad it's over with. Probably one of the most trying times of my life.
Now, Werts focused and ready to lead the Georgia Southern offense, which will once again be running that shotgun pistol option attack.
The Eagles are deep at running back Logan Wright, Matt LaRoche, Wesley Kennedy after a recent ruling from the NCAA, former Oklahoma State running back J.D. King as well.
That's right. King, who transferred to Georgia Southern from Oklahoma State back in January, granted a waiver to play immediately. Needless to say, that's big news for the Eagles and the Fitzgerald native.
Excited, still trying to process it. I mean, this is still something big for me and the team and my family, so I'm just blessed to be where I am today. If I would have thought about it too much, I would have took all my effort and all my hard work in the summer trying to get ready, not knowing if I was going to be able to play away from the team. So I just had to really forget about it and train as if I was going to play. So I really couldn't focus on it. I tried not to focus on it.
Now, that Georgia Southern offensive line dealt a blow last week when former Memorial Day standout Brian Miller went down with a hip injury. Miller, who started every game last season, had surgery and will miss the entire 2019 campaign.
Last year, the Eagle offense averaged about 30 points per game and rushed for 266 yards per contest. That ranked first in the Sun Belt and 7th in the FBS.
Now, the special teams, well, they're in good hands in 2019. Handling the place-kicking duties will be this guy. That's senior Tyler Bass. Bass was a second-team All-American as a junior. He was also a Groza semifinalist a year ago. Bass connected on 19 field goals in 2018. That tied the school record for most field goals in a season. Of course, Bass saved his best performance for last, kicking a 40-yard field goal as time expired to give the Eagles a 23-21 victory over Eastern Michigan at the Camellia Bowl. Now, former South Effingham High School standout Anthony Beck has been named the Eagles' starting punter. Beck will also hold for field goal and extra points. Now, doing the snapping will be the guy we call Mr. Automatic, Ryan Langen.
We're hitting the field with Southern pride when our Georgia Southern preview continues. Stick around.
We consider ourselves a really big family. I mean, this group of people, they're going to spend more time with each other than anyone else. And they've been doing it for so long. I mean, we do have a lot of disparate parts, but they all come together into one group. And really, all the credit goes to, we have great student staff, our section leaders, and our adult staff that bring all that together.
I've done marching band since 8th grade, but here at Southern Pride, it sounds cliche, but it is a family. Like, everybody is very close. Everybody has the same passion for music and what we do, so it's just so much fun.
The difference between most bands, probably, I'm sure they have that family mentality, but being not the biggest band, I feel like we're one of the best bands just because of that personality we have and that trait we got. So
we spent countless hours rehearsing together, practicing on our own. It's a full-time job, really.
Southern Pride Marching Band has a huge support system built in with the school. And that actually helps define what we are able to do. There are people all around campus who support us, from the president to Coach Lunsford, through people in the marketing department, in media, in IT, and the grounds crew. There are just so many people who support us at such a high level. That doesn't happen at all. You know, I've been in a lot of different schools, and that doesn't happen at the level that it does at Georgia Southern. So the Pride is what it's able to be because of all of the people who support us.
Again, the 2019 season kicks off Saturday night down in Baton Rouge.
Thanks for joining us tonight, and here's to another amazing season of Georgia Southern football.
Have a great night, everyone.